Hello, great Gopher fans. Welcome to Golden Dunkers Live. Welcome to Golden Dunkers Live, great Golden Gopher fans. I'm your host, Eric Harris, Jr., aka the defensive specialist. We have a very special treat today. This individual means so much to me. You know, he was my mentor. He's my friend. He's a great guy. He's a comedian. He was the team barber when I played, so he he cut everybody's hair on the team. Leader. I mean, the guy just does it all. You know, he's having success right now in Chicago, coaching a high school basketball team. You know, this guy just means the world to me, so I'm happy to have him on the show today. But before we get to our special guest, I just have to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, anybody can score. You know, if your goal, young people, is to play on the Division I level or have higher aspirations to play in the NBA, you have to be able to defend. Defense is an art. It's a mindset. You have to have will and determination. So I can help you with that. I can give you the answers to the test. Please call 1-833-LOCK-YOU-UP. Once again, 1-833-LOCK-YOU-UP for all your defensive skills that you need. But let's get to the man of the hour. Like I said, this guy, one of the Gopher greats, number 23. He did everything on the court. You know, like I said, he was a leader. He shot the ball phenomenally. I just love this guy. Like he taught me so many things. Like I said, he took me under his wing, and I can't thank him enough for all the things that he did. And I'm gonna always be appreciative and love him for everything that he did to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the one, the only Townsend Orr, number 23, aka Pee Wee. T.O., what's going on, my brother? How you doing, man?
What's good, E? How you doing? How's Minneapolis treating you, man?
I'm blessed, T.O. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, just sitting here enjoying the Sunday evening. Glad to see you, my brother. Glad to see all is going well. Very proud of you. Thanks for all the kind and humbling words, man. I can't be more proud of you and what you're doing, and kind of keep an eye on what's going on at the University of Minnesota.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I love you. You remember Bierman Athletic Facility, man?
Hey, man, Bierman Athletic Facility, 6 a.m. in the morning, suicides, Clem Haskins, don't help me, help the bear.
But this is Bierman now, T.O. I don't know if you can see it, but what was formerly Bierman is now called Athletes Village. This place is amazing, brother. All the bells and whistles. It's just a crazy facility right now, man.
Look at that, new and improved. If I'm a young student athlete right now today in America, there's no place I'd rather be than University of Minnesota over at Bierman. I'm telling you, those were some of the best times of my life. Glad that I had the opportunity to share with a very very nice and experienced guy like yourself, man. And just so proud of the run you guys made in '97, and you'll always be my brother.
Well, you guys set the tone, man. The squad that you had, you, Ariel, Randy Carter, VO, Jason Walton. The list goes on and on. Chad Colander, you guys set the tone, but you, man, if people don't know, you were the leader of that team. You set the tone, and you guys paved the way. And those uniforms, I tell you all the time, those uniforms with that Gopher on the shorts, by far the best Gopher uniforms ever. I love those uniforms.
Look, with the Gophers on one side and a number on the other, those are some great uniforms. Those uniforms actually came about the year after we won the NIT. Very special uniforms, but like you said, I can't sit here today and say we kind of started it, because before us, it was Richard Coffey, Melbourne Newburn, Kevin Lynch, Walter Bond, Connell Lewis, Willie Burton. All those guys played such an instrumental role in kind of getting the University of Minnesota athletics to where it is today. So I just want to, give acknowledge and pay homage to those guys, because when I came in as a freshman, I mean, Walter Bond was, another Chicago guy, kind of took me under his wing, him and Rob Metcalf, and kind of showed myself, Randy Cotter, kind of what it meant to be a University of Minnesota Golden Gopher.
No doubt, T.O., but we're going to slow down. We're going to get to that in a minute, man. You have a beautiful family. Before we get to anything, man, I just want to say hello to your beautiful wife, Vicky, man, your kids. You're also a family man. Can you give a shout out to your family and the important role that, your wife, Vicky, plays and everything?
Much love to my wife Vicky, the kids, and my family. Without them, I couldn't do what I do. It's kind of like when we were there, and Coach Haskins would always tell us, basketball is great. Hopefully you'll get a chance to play after this. But what he wanted for all of us was to grow up to be, loving husbands and fathers, and kind of give back. And as much as we used to joke, and I would tell myself, man, coach is in my, what? I hope I don't grow up to be like him. And it's so funny because now I look back and I laugh. I'm exactly like Coach Haskins. I'm coaching high school basketball, and I'm getting in these guys' butt, and they don't understand it. And it's all comes from Coach Haskins. But just like you said about my family, Coach Haskins had the support of his loving wife, Yvette Haskins, and his kids around him. So it's just kind of amazing the footsteps you follow in. And at 18, 19, 20 years old, you may not think you want to be that person, but in reality, you really do. And sometimes more than not, you become that person. So, I'm pretty proud to say I'm a disciple of Clem Haskins.
Yes, sir. That's a perfect segue. Much love to Miss Yvette Haskins. She was, like you said, she was the superstar. She ran the show and she took great care. We were all her kids, and she did a great job of taking care of us. And Coach Haskins, the guy is special. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves. So shout out to Miss Haskins and Coach Haskins. I'm gonna put you on the spot, man, because when I say comedian, you have the best Coach Haskins impersonation, man. Can I get one real quick?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I know it's a family show. I know it's a family show, but in order to do an impersonation of Coach Haskins, sometimes you have to use profanity. I remember we were playing at Michigan, Ann Arbor. I had a bad hip pointer. I was out. I shouldn't have been playing, but I wanted to try to be out there and give it up for the team. And lo and behold, I think I had 4 turnovers in the first half. We go in at halftime, and Coach Haskins looks at the team and he looks at me and he say, "God damn it, Townsend, you the last son of a bitch I get from Chicago. You turn that motherfucker over like pancakes." I said, "Wow, coach. Like pancakes, huh?" So you know what? That stuck with me. I went out in the second half. I didn't turn it over again. Unfortunately, we didn't win the game, but I got the message loud and clear. And it was just, with all the love and passion he had for the game, it was just saying, "Come on, son, give me more than what you're giving me right now." So, I take those words and I took it to heart. And like I said, I'm proud to be a disciple of Clem Haskins. The guy just meant so much to me, as well as you and so many more Gopher basketball greats that, like you said, he doesn't get all the recognition he deserves, but we recognize him. And I think that's the most important thing I know to him and Ms. Haskins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can we take it back a little bit, T.O., to your days growing up in the basketball hotbed, which is the state of Illinois? So much talent came from there. Can you just take us back to what it was like growing up from a personal standpoint and also from a basketball standpoint?
Oh, from a personal standpoint, sometimes Chicago gets a bad rap. You understand, you're a New York City kid, and people, you hear about the violence and the crime, but what you don't hear about is the communities of tight knit people who, your next door neighbor looks out for the kids next door and across the street. And it was just a wonderful time to grow up in the mid to late '80s and going into the '90s. I mean, I love Chicago. And then as far as basketball, I know you'll debate this with me. We debated it many times. There's no other talent like the talent that comes out of Chicago. Kids are tough minded. Sometimes they have to be because of economic circumstances, but you're getting a tough, well groomed, student athlete when you get a kid out of the high school ranks coming out of Chicago. So some of the best talent in the world. I wouldn't have traded it for anything, and it's kind of helped me become who I am today.
Who were some of your contemporaries in high school? You have a special connection with Ariel. You guys are both pretty much from the same area. Can you talk about some of the
Sure.
guys you played with and against?
Sure. You know, what a lot of people don't know about me and Ariel McDonald is Ariel McDonald's mom and my mom went to high school together.
Wow.
Ariel McDonald's mom was my guidance counselor in high school. Ariel and I played in the same conference in high school before he moved to North Carolina, where his grandmother stays, to finish out his senior year of high school. So Ariel and I have been close since we've been kids. Our parents grew up together, and just to see him flourish and have the opportunity to play with him in college, that was a great experience for both of us. So it's just amazing how life kind of connects you. And to this day, I mean, we all still talk. Ariel, Randy, yourself, we're all in a quite a tight group. So those things, those are the memories that you miss. Basketball was great, but those are the things you take from the game. Being able to still have a relationship with your brothers afterwards.
Yes, sir. So you went to Thorn Ridge High School?
Thornridge High School. For those who don't know, Quinn Buckner played there. He ended up going to Indiana University. He still holds the record as far as high school. The high school we went to, they won 58 games in a row and back-to-back state titles before he went off to play for Indiana University. Kevin, the late great Kevin Duckworth played for the Portland Trail Blazers. Also was a member of that high school. Just a lot of great talent comes out of the area, and those are just two of many. But so proud and so honored to be amongst those names who've graduated from Thornridge High School.
This may sound like a dumb question. I'm thinking you got it because of MJ, but where did you get your affection for the number 23?
You know what? Everybody had an affection for MJ at the time, and that's definitely it. I definitely grew up an Isaiah Thomas fan. He's another guy from the state of Illinois. Went to St. Joe's High School in Westchester. He wore number 11. But you know how it is, E. When you from New York City, hey, you're a fan. I'm from Chicago, and when Isaiah went to Detroit, we still respected him. But when MJ came and he wore the number 23, it was just something about that just kind of drew me to that number. And that was kind of the number I had in high school. Kind of wanted to shy away from it when I got to college, but Coach Haskins said, nope, that's the number you're getting. So I think he was trying to get some of that MJ magic out of me. But sorry to disappoint, I'm not 6'6". So hopefully I represented the number good enough.
Yes, I picked your brain so many times about what it was like growing. Anybody knows me, I'm a Michael Jordan head. I picked your brain. Jealous, man. You grew up in that era when it was just. That's a whole nother topic. But so, how did the recruiting to the Gophers take place? Who were some of the schools that were interested in you, other than the Gophers?
Good question. Being a Midwest guy, and times have changed a little bit now. Now you get kids from California, they'll come to the Midwest on a regular basis, or kids from Atlanta, they'll go out to LA. Kind of when we were growing up, you kind of stayed in your geographical region. If you were a New York kid, you're going to St. John's, you're going to Georgetown if you're from DC. And if you're from the Midwest, you're going to Minnesota, you're going to University of Illinois. So uh, some of my last choices were Michigan State, Purdue, Indiana, and then it came down to Minnesota. That was my last visit that I took in March. I pretty much had it wrapped up. I think, I was going to go to Michigan State. Once I set foot on the University of Minnesota campus, saw the great campus life, met all the great and positive people there. And once I got a chance to sit down and really have a more in-depth conversation with Coach Haskins, and then he was telling me some of the guys he was trying to recruit. Ariel was already there. He's a year ahead of me. So he kind of gave me some insight, and that really sealed the deal. I mean, look, you're there now. And I'm not just saying this. I love Chicago, but there's no place like the Twin Cities and the University of Minnesota. I wouldn't have traded it for the world. I love it. Miss you guys. Can't wait to maybe get down there for the Final Four and we all get together and hang out.
most people don't realize, you know, and first of all, that's a big time recruiting list that you had. I mean, list of colleges. So you knew about the University of Minnesota, because when Coach Barnes recruited me, I didn't know what the University of Minnesota was, who played there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it existed. But like you said, when you get here, you come on a visit, you guys were like family. That's what sold me how close knit the team was, and the
Well,
campus. And unlike most Big Ten schools, you're 10 minutes from downtown. So I
well,
think that's what separates the University of Minnesota from other Big Ten schools.
well, definitely. Um, you don't just have to hang out on campus. There's other things going on in the city to kind of pique your interest, and then you can kind of get into the community and kind of give back a little bit. That's one of the things we always took pride doing. Coach Haskins always told us, you know, what it's like. Go give back. Go over north. And speak to some of these youth organizations and give back. But it was just an amazing time, and one of the things that kind of drew me to the University of Minnesota was I'm a fan of the game. And I remember that run they had 2 years prior. Sweet 16, Elite Eight. Like I said, when you had the Melvin Newburns, the Willie Burdens, the Richard Coffeys, the Kevin Lynches. I mean, when I saw that and I saw what was taking place at the University of Minnesota, I told my mom, I said, man, look at what's going on there. Yeah, it was some other schools that maybe were a little bit more established, but I understood what Coach Haskins was trying to create, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so grateful and thankful that I had the opportunity to do so.
And you all know that once Coach Haskins gets in your living room, mom falls in love with him. And
Uh,
that's who you have to sell, mom. It's not
li-
dad.
li-
So
listen, once Coach Haskins came and he talked to my mother, it was nothing else I could tell her. That was it. I could, Mom, well, Duke is coming in North Carolina. Nope, she was a Coach Haskins fan. And you have to respect that as a man. Coach Haskins stood for everything uh, young guys were trying to represent at the time. He was, like Richard would always say, hard but fair. You knew what you were getting. He was very upfront and honest. And you have to respect that as a player, as a person. Um, and then, once you have opportunity and you meet Miss Haskins, look, many people don't know I went down my freshman year with an injury. Miss Haskins was there from beginning to end before, my mom and grandmother had to drive 8 hours from Chicago to Minneapolis. Miss Haskins stayed by my side the whole way. So people don't understand when you say family type atmosphere, it truly was a family. And it was nothing that they wouldn't do for us because they knew most of us, like yourself, you're coming from New York, Chicago. We have kids coming from Michigan. So they had to kind of inherit that. And she had to be the mom every year to 15 plus kids. So, it was just a great time. Like I said, wouldn't have wanted to play at any other university. And if I would have, I wouldn't have had the chance to meet you.
so who recruited you? Was it Coach McKinney or Coach Barnes?
Coach Silas McKinney. So he was responsible for Randy Carter, Ariel McDonald, myself, Chad Colander, Jason Walton, Nate Tubbs. I mean, Silas McKinney was great, and then I had the opportunity of uh, having a close knit relationship with him. And then he left after a year, and we were all kind of heartbroken and disappointed. But then, lo and behold, Coach Milton Barnes comes in, and like you said, we communicate with him to this day, and it's just amazing the impact that these people have in your lives, and you don't understand it when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, but these guys mean everything to you, and and the impression that they leave upon you. I just talked to Coach Barnes 3 weeks ago, and you know this. You played for him. It's just a relationship and a bond that can't be broken.
Coach McKinney got it done. Coach Barnes got it done. I didn't know Coach McKinney personally, but I heard of his legend and how great he was at recruiting. But Coach Barnes is a great guy. Like you said, we still talk to him to this day. Quick story. I'm a freshman, 95. You have these great vets, Townsend Orr and Rashawn Lee. Those that don't know, I couldn't shoot. My freshman year, I couldn't shoot. New Yorker, just getting to the basket, trying to finish, going up and down. Townsend and Rashawn used to get on me so bad. We used to have shooting drills. Every time I shoot, I hear one of them say, "That's off. Them
That's
hard. Those are off. Them hard." So
let's start the fast break.
those guys got on me, but I knew where they were coming from. They wanted me to be better. And I knew that, the Big Ten, it's a scouting report. If you can't shoot, it's pretty much over because they're just going to back up off you. And I took that to heart. And I want to be like those guys. So I spent a lot of time trying to work on my jump shot. Can you talk about your relationship with Rashawn and the type of player he was coming in as a kid from Michigan?
Oh, listen, I tell people this, people see Larry Bird, they see Reggie Miller, they see Steph Curry nowadays, right? All these great shooters. But like you said, you, myself, Vashawn Leonard, and even when Trent Tucker would come home in the off season, would all work out and shoot together. And I tell people, because Vashawn was able to go on and win a 3-point shooting contest in the NBA, there's not many guys better at just purely shooting the basketball than Vashawn Leonard. He and I have been like brothers when he stepped foot on campus from day one. He's from Detroit. I'm from the Chicago area. He would come back home with me in the summer times, and we would just work and push each other. And some of it would get a little competitive. We would trash talk each other. But one of the proudest moments, like you said, every time you would shoot, we would say, "Oh, that's off. Let's start the fast break. Leave E. Harris open. He can't hit a jump shot." 1997. We're all kind of playing, basketball somewhere else. You guys are in the Final Four, and I believe it was UCLA, and you're consistently knocking down the 15 to 17-foot jump shot, and nobody was more proud than me, man, because I know the work you put in. I seen as long hours, and you didn't take it personal, the teasing, because we were doing it to push you, to make you say, "Hey, I'm gonna get in the gym and I'm gonna work on my jump shot." Because when you came in day one, we heard all these stories. He's the best defensive player ever. Like, okay, man, okay, we get it. You like the kid, but I remember playing pickup, and I pride myself on being a good ball handler. And I think I tried to cross over in front of you, and you hit the ball, and I'm like, wait a minute, this dude got some quick hands. I'm gonna have to adjust, what I do with the ball. But it was a thing. Can he hit the jump shot? So going back to that story, I was so proud of you, man, when you knocked those shots down and you guys were able to win. Just like a big brother to a little brother, because I knew the work you put in, and I seen it. It paid off at the most important moment, man. So kudos to you, my brother. Happy for you for that.
Thank you, Pee Wee. I wanted to be like you guys. I saw the work ethic you guys put in every day. And you were special, man. You could shoot. You scored a lot of points in high school. You were a scorer. You could defend. But the biggest quality that you had for me was you a leader. You were a leader. You weren't afraid to get in guys' butts about doing something if they weren't doing it. Leadership is hard. It's not going to always be fun. It's not going to always be easy. But by far, you were the best leader that I saw. So going back to that team, it wasn't enough balls. You have you, Vo, Ariel, Jay Walt was a scorer. Randy wanted the ball.
Well,
He wanted to score. How
well,
did you kind of,
how did it work? How did it fit?
not only how did it work, but how did you deal with, you were a star in high school, so now you had to play a role coming off the bench when everybody knew that you were good enough to start?
Well, like you said, and now I'm coaching high school basketball myself at a Thornton Fractional South High School in Lansing,
Can you
Illinois.
say the name again?
Thornton Fractional South. It's in Lansing, Illinois. The head varsity coach there, and exactly what you said, E. I tell my young guys that um, y- you could be a 2,000, 2,500 point scorer in high school, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about winning championships, right, and to be a leader, you're gonna have to have some uncomfortable conversations. Like you said, it was a tough group, man. I got Randy, I got Ariel, I got Vashawn, I got Jason, and all these guys, they want the ball. So sometimes you have to say, hey, look, man, you're going to get the ball, but not right now. We have a matchup that we can exploit right now. And you have to be strong enough to take that pushback. So me personally, on that team, I had to find a way to contribute. I knew in my heart what I could do, but if you want to win, so Coach Haskins and I sat down. I said, Coach, I'm gonna be a defensive stopper, and just kind of what you specialize in right now, E. I said, I'm gonna be the best on ball help side defender that we have, and that's gonna allow some of these other guys to kind of feel more comfortable and play their role. Don't worry about me. I can go get offense if we need it, but someone has to be that leader and provide some defense or a spark off the bench here or there. So that's what I try to instill to the kids I coach now. It's all about winning. Don't put your personal goals ahead of the team's success.
When the team wins, everybody, individually gets credit. Everything happens, and that's what I understood with our team. There were two moments. I don't know if I signed with the Gophers yet. Maybe I was still being recruited, or Coach Barnes was still trying to get me. But you guys came to St. John's. Y'all beat St. John's by like 20 something. Y'all just blew them out.
Oh
It
man,
was disgusting. That was one memory I have.
it was 30 on Super Bowl Sunday on CBS. But go ahead.
30. Y'all destroyed them. And then it was a game at IU. No, at home, y'all beat Indiana by like 50 or something.
By 50.
What were some highlights for you during your Gopher career?
I mean, really, to be honest, so those two that you just mentioned, because obviously anytime you could beat an Indiana, Bobby Knight coach team is great. But to be able to beat them by 50, that was unheard of. And it's not like they didn't have a good team. I believe they won the Big Ten that year. So for us to be able to achieve that was great. And then St. John's, Super Bowl Sunday, everybody's watching. It's on CBS right before the Super Bowl. And we go into the world famous Madison Square Garden, where you're from, New York City, and put on a great performance. Those stick out, as well as when we felt like we got snubbed from the NCAA tournament in '93. And so we said, look, you know what? Let's set out and show and prove everybody wrong. And we went on to have a magical run and win an NIT that year. Those are some of the memories that kind of stick out and really that you miss sharing with your teammates.
Great memories. Great memories. Who I'm trying to see. So you guys, that your junior year, y'all go to the tournament. Y'all went to, or was it your junior year? Y'all go to the tournament, get to the Elite Eight or Sweet 16?
Junior year, we think maybe second round. We go out in Sacramento. We play Southern Illinois, Carbondale, beat them the first game. Then we have Louisville. They had a couple pros on that team. We're up 12 points, I think, at halftime. And then we didn't come out and respond the way that we should have. And they came back and beat us. And I think Louisville ended up making a run to the Elite Eight. And we knew we could have been there. But, those are things, like I said, memories, whether, positive, negative, you can't get back, but memories nonetheless, right? Those times where you're in the trenches with your brothers and you're fighting to kind of come up with a victory, and people don't see what happens behind the scenes. The crying in the locker room and the disappointment, because you wanted to bring the state of Minnesota that national title, and you want to represent for your family and friends as well as the school. So those are the things you miss. And basketball can come and go, but the relationships that you make and that you keep throughout the times when you leave, it's great. We were able to come back last year and kind of hang out a little bit. We kind of did something for Coach Haskins, just being able to hang out with some of your, because you're kind of the bridge in between both, right? You played with us, and then you played with Quincy and Bobby and Sam, and to be able to come back and see those guys and have conversations with those guys. John Thomas, another guy, he bridged both gaps, right? He played with me as well as you, as well as those guys. It's just great to see guys all doing well in their adult lives and just still being a fixture of Minneapolis basketball on all levels.
Definitely. Minnesota Wild. We need a sponsor for the show. Minnesota Wild. Can we get a sponsor? We need a sponsor.
Hey.
But, thank you for all the haircuts. You cut everybody's hair back in the day, brother. You were nice with the Clippers, too. Whatever you did, you were just good at, brother.
Hey,
you were just good at. You were a comedian. You're my top four. In no particular order. It's you, my friend God Sham God, my friend Book Emmanuel Book Richardson, and another guy from New York, Trevor Redfern. Man, where did those comedic qualities? You would roast everybody, man. It got to the point where you would get on guys so bad. I remember John Thomas on the bus. I don't know if we won or lost the game, but John was ready to fight
Want to
you.
fight. You know what? It's so funny because when we came back last year, one of the first people that I saw was John. And me and John just looked at each other, laughed, and gave each other a big hug because he knew it was coming from a place of love. Look, John turned out to be a tremendous basketball player for the University of Minnesota. But I would always tease him because he would play video games all the time. I said, John, we need to get in the gym. So, I would kind of get on him a little bit. And you know what? It got me in trouble. I mean, I would even get on Coach Haskins, and he would he made sure I paid for it. So nobody was off limits. Definitely nobody was off limits. But that's just something kind of growing up in the Chicago area. You got to be tough because if you're not, they try to find and exploit any weakness you have on the basketball court. And if they know you can't take ridicule, that's it. Game over. You're destroyed. So that's kind of where it came from. And hey, didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings or offend anybody. Just was kind of being who I was, and that's kind of who I was at the time. I was a fun loving, silly type person. And but when it was time to practice or play, hey, it was business, and sometimes I would kind of get upset, and guys probably, why you upset? You was just cracking jokes 2 minutes ago, but look, hey, it's winning time, so
You
yeah,
want the you took winning serious.
yeah, I took it very serious, man. Still do to this day. I appreciate you, man.
John is a great guy. To this day, we're real good friends. I look for him for a lot of advice and information. So JT, love you, man. So
Love.
you have a great career at the U. You didn't get drafted. Can you talk to us about playing professionally? Some of the stops you made playing professionally. Some of the guys you played
Well,
against overseas. Some of the locations you played in overseas.
yeah. I was fortunate enough to continue playing basketball afterwards. Went to England, went to Belgium, went to Germany, had met some great people, and a guy that I ended up playing with the Harlem Globetrotters. One of your St. Raymond's High buddies, Orlando Antigua. Him and I played together on the Globetrotters, and he's now an assistant coach at the University of Illinois. So you know what? That's just priceless. When you can use the game of basketball to kind of see the world and to mingle with some different people. And like I said, you and I, we have Orlando in common. You're a high school coach. Gary DeCesar, the playoffs start on Monday. It's a chance that my team may face his team to get downstate. It's just ironic how all this kind of ties in together. And him and I were together over Christmas time when we sent a shout out to you. And he's a guy that I can kind of lean on for some coaching experience and wisdom as well. Because as you know personally, he's a great guy. He's coached a lot of professional athletes and a lot of just great human beings. So you and I both, man, have been kind of blessed and fortunate to have, certain people in our lives.
Isn't it funny how God works and how life works? Things just kind of come back full circle. So, Coach Gary DeCesar, he says I never give him any credit for anything that he did for me. Coach, I love you. Thank you for everything that you did. T.O., so you had a great professional career. I just want to go back a little bit. I got to
Yep.
ask you about the Fab Five. You were there when those guys came in as freshmen, and you hear the talk now about Duke beating the Fab Five. Tell us about how great those guys were and the impact that they had on college basketball.
Well, first of all, being in the Chicago area, those guys, most of them being from Detroit, we would play each other every year AAU, and I'm just a year older, so I knew how good those guys were going to be because we would see each other at 15, 16 years old. What's kind of ironic, and I know they did the whole 30 for 30 series, but you got to give those guys a lot of credit. At the time, one and done wasn't implemented, but those guys really were instrumental with the baggy shorts and kind of putting the conversation kind of where it is today, with kids being good enough to leave after 1 year. Um, what they did for college basketball, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't recognized as a whole, but they were able to come in, talk trash, but bag it up. And to this day, you can see those guys are doing well. Jalen Rose is doing well. Um, uh, uh,
All of them.
Chris Webber, Ray Jackson and Jimmy King went back to Texas and have a foundation. Juwan Howard, of course, another Chicago guy, is coaching in the NBA, and he does, tremendous. Comes back to the community. So what those guys did for college basketball kind of started where we are today. With the Zion Williamsons and all these guys getting the attention. That's really because of the 5-5.
The one game, Fab Five or this current version of Duke, who would you go with?
I'm going with the 5-5 because those guys are proven. It's great what's going on now, but we don't know how these guys are going to turn out. We knew that Chris Webber was going to be a star. We knew Juwan Howard was going to be a star. We knew Jalen Rose, regardless of if he played 14 years in the NBA, his personality and his charisma, he was going to be able to come out and have a great career. And then you have Ray and Jimmy. I mean, all those guys were just great because I know them personally, and it's just so happy to see them succeeding now.
What would you say your career against? Because C. Webb left after his sophomore year, right?
Webb left after his sophomore year, Jalen Juwan junior year, and then played against Jimmy and Ray their senior years.
Legend has it that the Gophers almost had C. Webb. Almost.
Oh, you know what? I forgot Chris came to visit. You know what? I would say we were his second choice. Obviously, it was so much pressure on him being the number one high school kid in America and being a Detroit kid. If the University of Michigan didn't get him, it would have been a travesty. So I understand the pressure that he probably was under, but we had a really good shot at getting him, and I think because he saw the quality players we had as well as the great coaches. So we were right there. We were right there.
So you planned a bunch of beautiful countries overseas. I always tell people that playing overseas is such a great experience. You meet so many people, experience so many different countries, and it's just beautiful overseas. Then you play with the Globetrotters with my guy Orlando Antigua, such a great dude. So you did a little bit of everything. So how would you sum up your professional career? And you went far for a minute. You did everything, man.
You know what? I would sum it up and say, just like when I was at the University of Minnesota as a player, I left it all out there, man. I left it all on the court, and I just tried to do that with my professional career as well as now. Coach Haskins would always say, you're not fooling me, you're fooling yourself. And for those who don't know what that means, it basically means just because someone else doesn't see you cutting corners, you see it and you feel it. So don't cheat yourself because you'll pay for it somewhere down the road. And I can't be thankful enough for the job that he did with us as young men because it shaped who we are now as adults. And I just tried to leave it all out there, man. Don't try to cut any corners, man. That's it.
We could write a book on Coach Haskins' sayings. My funniest was Tiny Tim tipping through the tulips.
Been through
I
the
never really understood what that meant. Was he soft, Tiny Tim, or what was he trying to? What was the analogy there? Like,
Listen, I'm not even gonna try to figure that one out. By junior year, it was more freshman year, you were afraid. When coach would say something, I mean, you couldn't sleep at night. You'd be so worried about he gonna get you. But by junior year, you knew it was coming from a place of love. He would always say, "Don't help me if I get into a fight. Help the bear." And you're like, "Coach, the bear help the bear?" You know, it, you know,
with
it's
a broken arm, I had 55 and 20
look.
rebounds.
He said, you guys don't get it. I broke my wrist. I missed every shot that night, but I had 50 rebounds because I went and got every one of them. I'm like, oh my God. Like, you know what? It was funny, but once you knew what he was saying, he just wanted you to give maximum effort. One thing I can say about Coach Haskins, he would get on me. He never got on me for giving maximum effort. If I gave my maximum effort, he would always hug me and say, "Son, you did your best." And I can live with that. What he couldn't live with was you not giving maximum effort when he knew the potential that you had. And that's why I think to this day, those sayings and everything that he did for us sticks with us because you look, we're not going to be perfect. We're not going to do everything right. But if look, coach would always say, 80% of people die with potential. And people say, what do you mean? Because you never maximize or push yourself to the point where you can, get your best results. Some people quit at 40, some quit at 50, and that may be good enough for them. But coach would always say 80% of people die with potential. So, taking those things and kind of implementing them in your life helps you to be more successful. So, look, it was great, man. I enjoyed my time at the University of Minnesota. I'm about to get ready to watch the game now. I enjoyed playing with you and all other great teammates that we had. I'm so proud of what you're doing now, and to be able to come back and get done what you got done. And we know, it's man, it's nothing but admiration for you, man.
Thank you, T.O. So let's just talk about what you're doing now real quick. You mentioned it a little earlier, you're coaching high school basketball now in the great city of Chicago, state of Illinois. Can you talk a little bit about your program? Tell us the name of your program again so we can follow it and stay tuned to what you're doing.
Sure. So the high school that I'm coaching at is Thornton Fractional South. It's in Lansing, Illinois. They haven't won a regional since 1963. We came in last year, first year, we got bounced in the first round on the regionals, but we had a 500 record. This year, we're 19-12, playoffs start tomorrow, and we have a pretty good shot of advancing if we can get by some tough games. The thing about it is everybody's familiar with Derrick Rose and all the great players that come out of Chicago. Derrick Rose went to Simeon High School. So if we win our game on Wednesday, we play his former high school, who out of the last 6 years, I think they won 3 state titles. We would be matched up with them on Friday. So that would be a good test for my program and our kids to kind of see where we're at and kind of where we could go. I think we have a bright future. We got some good kids now. We have some good underclassmen. And I think if we just keep working, I think we're going to be a team that kind of be reckoned with in the state of Illinois for a long time to come.
Well, I know you're coaching those guys hard. You're developing them. You're just giving them life lessons. So if they haven't won in however many years you said, I know it's not too long before you put them in the map and establish them as a great program. But you going up against Coach the Season, St. Rita's, I don't know. That's a tough one to choose, man. But I just wish both of y'all success and, keep doing the great job that you're doing, T.O.
Thanks. I appreciate it, man. And I definitely tell Coach this season you said what's up. And I look forward to coming down there for the Final Four, hanging out with you guys soon, man.
Yes, I got one more for you today. The Gophers play Rutgers, and they have 4 regular season games left. If they win out, they can go 21-10. And then they have the Big Ten tournament. You weren't here. My senior year was the first year of the Big Ten tournament. Have you been watching the team? Can you just give us real quick some of your takes on the team and,
Yeah,
give us your thoughts on the team?
Of course, I watched the team. Obviously, we say Richard Coffey, former Gopher. His son Amir plays. Been watching him. Been watching the team. Coach Patino, assistant coach Rob Jeter, Chicago guy. So it's just amazing what they've been doing. I think they're doing a good job. The Big Ten is tough, man. It's tough. We've been in some games. I watched the game where we were up on Purdue for the majority of the game, and then it's tough to play in Mackey Arena. So Purdue came back and got the victory. But I love our Gophers, man, and I think they're going to be able to close the season out these last 4 games. Hopefully, should be able to. I plan on coming to the United Center for the Big Ten tournament and kind of watching the Gophers play. So finish the year out strong. I think the sky is the limit for these guys, and I would hate to be a team that's going to face us in the Big Ten tournament and hopefully in the NCAA tournament.
Yes. T.O., I could have you on. I could talk to you for hours, man. Just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for making yourself available. You are one of the Gopher greats. You had a great career. It didn't stop there. Like we said, you played professionally, and now you're doing great things in the community, giving back to these kids in Chicago that need it. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate your guidance and your wisdom and just having someone to lean on, when I need to. So thank you for your time, T.O. I love you and I appreciate you, man.
Man, thanks for having me, man. Love you too, brother. Go Gophers. Talk to you in a minute.
Yes, be sure to follow Golden Dunkers Live, ladies and gentlemen, on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. T.O., you on any Instagram? Any social media sites where people can follow you?
Uh, I think I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really. You just click on Townsend Orr. I mean, I'm not on there a lot. I just have it just because I think one of my kids created an Instagram page for me. That's under ORRT 2323, and shoot me a message. I'll check it at some point and get back to you, I guess. But I'm kind of old school. Just follow it. Regular phone or text message. If you have it. But man, it's been a pleasure, man, and I'm proud of you. And it's been great, man, getting a chance to kind of catch up and talk Gopher hoop.
Thank you, brother. Look for more episodes of Golden Dunkers Live coming soon. Continue to give us the feedback. Let us know which former Gophers that you want to see on the show, and we'll try to get them to you. Thank you very much. I'm your host, Eric Harris Jr., a.k.a. the Defensive Specialist, and we'll see you soon. Go Gophers. Thanks, T.O.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Later.